Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Paribrajakachacha Ashtotarata Shishimat Abhay Charan Arvindam Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Kori Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai ISKCON BBT Sangstapakacharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gogopinath Shama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Shri Maya Purnabadi Dham Ki Jai Ganga Maya Jamuna Maya Ki Jai Shrimati Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Shrimati Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Rasa Bihari Lalita Vishaka Ki Jai Shri Shri Gaur Nitai Ki Jai Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Ki Jai Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Samaveda Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Reading from the 5th chapter, text 18. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vidya Vinayana Sambhane. Vidya Vinaya Sambhane. Brahmane Gavihastini. Brahmane Gavihastini. Shuni Chaiva Swapake Cha. Suni Chaiva Swapake Cha. Pandita Samadharshanaha. Vidya Vinayana Sambhane. Brahmane Gavihastini. Suni Chaiva Swapake Cha. Pandita Samadharshanaha. Vidya Vinaya Sambhane. Brahmane Gavihastini. Suni Chaiva Swapake Cha. Pandita Samadharshanaha. Vinayana Sampane. Brahmane Gavihastini. Suni Chaiva Swapake Cha. Pandita Samadharshanaha. Brahmane Gavihastini. Suni Chaiva Swapake Cha. Pandita Samadharshanaha. Vidya Vinayana Sambhane. Brahmane Gavihastini. Suni Chaiva Swapake Cha. Pandita Samadharshanaha. Vidya Vinayana Sambhane. Brahmane Gavihastini. Suni Chaiva Swapake Cha. Pandita Samadharshanaha. Vidya with education. Vinaya and gentleness. Sambhane, fully equipped. Brahmane, in the brahmanas. Gavi, in the cow. Hastini, in the elephant. Shuni, in the dog. Cha, and. Eva, certainly. Sapake, in the dog eater. The outcast. Cha, respectively. Panditaha, those who are wise. Samadarshanaha, who see with equal vision. The humble sages, by virtue of true knowledge, see with equal vision a learned and gentle brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog-eater outcast. Purport. A Krishna-conscious person does not make any distinction between species or caste. The brahmana and the outcast may be different from the social point of view, are a dog and a cow, and an elephant may be different from the point of view of species. But these differences of body are meaningless from the viewpoint of a learned transcendentalist. This is due to his relationship to the Supreme. For the Supreme Lord, by his plenary person as Paramatma, is present in everyone's heart. Such an understanding of the Supreme is real knowledge. As far as the bodies are concerned, in different castes or different species of life, the Lord is equally kind to everyone because he treats every living being as a friend, yet maintains himself as Paramatma, regardless of the circumstances of the living entities. The Lord as Paramatma is present both in the outcast and in the Brahmana, although the body of a Brahmana and that of an outcast are not the same. The bodies are material productions of different modes of material nature, but the soul and the supersoul within the body are the same spiritual quality. The similarity in the quality of the soul and the supersoul, however, does not make them equal in quantity, for the individual soul is present only in the particular body, whereas the Paramatma is present in each and every body. A Krishna-conscious person has full knowledge of this, and therefore he is truly learned and has equal vision. The similar characteristics of the soul and the supersoul are that they are both conscious, eternal, and blissful. But the difference is that the individual soul is conscious within the limited jurisdiction of the body, whereas the supersoul is conscious of all bodies. The supersoul is present in all bodies without distinction. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Muki Karota Vachalam Pangum Langayate Ganim Yat Kripa Taraham Bande Shri Gurundinataranam Paramananda Madhavam. So this is a verse from Srimad Bhagavat Gita, this 5th chapter, that Srila Prabhupada many times quotes this verse, quotes this verse. And we can see from the purport that this is a very important verse. It describes the relationship between a learned person and the Supersoul, the Supreme Lord. We see various types of bodies that a living entity can have. Among the animals, a living entity can have a dog body or an elephant body, right? A plant body, a tree body. And even among the human bodies, there's different varieties of bodies. There's demigods, there's the human, the species of human beings that live on this earthly planet. So different bodies are there. For the materialist, they're absorbed in these differences. They're very much concerned about the differences. And so therefore we see different societies build up, different communities, different countries, right? And these are all based on what they feel is a common factor. You know, what's the common factor of everyone in India? Well, everyone in India is an Indian. Right? Bharat Mahan. Right? It's great. India's great. And that's great. But within India, we see a lot of variations also. Practically, every state has its own language and its own culture. And even food is different. In Maharashtra, for breakfast, they like to eat poha. In Gujarat, they like to eat dokla and kamen. Sometimes people call kamen dokla, but it's not dokla. When it's yellow, that's made out of besan, and it's called kamen in Gujarati. And dokla is made out of rice flour, white one. That's dokla. Yellow one is kamen. Anyway. In Punjab, they like to eat paratha and dahi for breakfast. Big, thick paratha like that with dahi. So different food, different customs that people develop. But certainly, and there's people with different habits. You know, person is considered on a certain grade by kind of what they eat. So there's some communities where they eat dogs, they eat pigs, vidbhujan. And in other communities thinks these things are untouchable, these types of foods, right? Even in Islam, they think that pig is haram. No one can, right? Eat a pig. It's low, very low. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's described that the holy name is there contained in other names. And Chaitanya Charitamrita gives the example. There was a Muslim man who was killed by a wild boar, a pig, wild pig. So that's very bad, right, to be killed by a pig. So he said, haram, horrible. But in that haram, he mentioned Ram's name. So he was delivered. Chaitanya Charitamrita mentioned. So the point of this verse is that there's a certain person who sees beyond all the differences and sees everyone as the same. Everyone is the same. Why? Because the transcendentalist, the Vidya, learned person, Vidya Vinayani, the learned person, sees with equal vision because he sees in each and everyone's heart is the Paramatma. The Paramatma, the super soul. What gives the body life? The presence of the soul. The soul gives the body life. When the soul is no longer there in the body, then the body is finished. Srila Prabhupada used to say, what is the difference between a live body and a dead body? Right? The difference is, in the dead body, there's no more soul. The soul is gone. Yet, along with the soul, in the body is a super soul, referred to as the Paramatma. The Atma and Paramatma. Now, the Paramatma residing within the soul, within the body, along with the soul, the Atma, he's not affected by that body. The Atma, he's affected, and he becomes bewildered by thinking that he is a pig or a dog or American, Russian, Indian, Gujarati, Marathi, Punjabi, right? But the Paramatma, he understands his nature. Sat Chit Ananda, eternal, full of knowledge and blissful. But the Atma, bewildered, the conditioned, the Baddha Jeev, he thinks that he's the body, which is Asat, Achit, and Nirananda. So the Paramatma is there, and a learned person realizes that he is the soul and not the body, and he sees every other living entity as a soul. Right? In some religions, they say that the humans have souls. Human beings have souls. But the animals have no souls. When I was in the maybe second standard, in America they call it grades, second grade, I was taught by the nuns, the sisters. So the sister was teaching us the 10 Commandments. 10 Commandments. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not lie. Honor your father and mother. And thou shalt not kill. So I was thinking, thou shalt not kill. But I know that Christian men, they go into the forest and they shoot and kill the deer. Right? So I raised my hand and I asked the sister this question. But they kill the deer in the forest. They go with the gun and shoot. Right? And the sister said, yes, but the deer have no soul. And I was thinking, no soul. That's why Prabhupada called modern education a slaughterhouse. This question comes naturally to the inquisitive mind. But they just cut it off, no soul. But a learned person knows that in order for a thing, a body to be alive, there must be the presence of the soul. And there are symptoms of life. What are the symptoms of life? Whatever, anybody. It comes into existence, takes its birth. Some bodies come from eggs. Some bodies come from the womb. Some bodies come from the sweat, right? Is that all? So like this tree, it came into existence. The human body comes into existence and it grows. You know, that diorama is there. Baby body, child body, young person, teenager, middle age, old. It grows, right? And from the body come some byproducts. Byproducts. The human beings' byproducts are the children. The tree byproducts are the flowers. On the floor you can see the bakul trees. So many nice flowers. Such a wonderful smell that comes. A byproduct. From the bale tree comes fruits. Bale. Fruit. Okay? Byproducts. And then after some time the body dwindles and finally it's annihilated. It's gone. Any body that's living, existing, goes through these changes. So Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport the nature of the soul, Atma, and the nature of the supersoul, Paramatma, are the same. Right? The transcendentalist knows that he's eternal. The transcendentalist knows that the Paramatma is also eternal. The transcendentalist knows that his nature is he's full of knowledge. And the Paramatma is full of knowledge. And the transcendentalist is blissful. He's blissful. In Krishna consciousness, the devotees are blissful. They chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama. And they dance. They chant and they dance. Unless you're blissful, how can you dance? Right? We're blissful. Devotees are blissful. And the Supreme Lord is always blissful. So their natures are same in quality. But in quantity, the Paramatma is very great. He's Vibhu. And the living entity is Anu, small. Compared to the Lord, very small. And the Lord is very great. This is the difference. Qualities are same. Quantity is very much different. Very much different. The learned transcendentalist, one who's actually in knowledge, he can understand this. And therefore, the transcendentalist, he doesn't see differences. Differences are on the bodily platform. And we say the bodily platform is illusion. But that doesn't mean that there is no body. The impersonalists misunderstand the philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita. They think this world is illusion, and that illusion is that it doesn't exist. But we learn from the Shastra, this is the energy of Krishna. How can you say the energy of Krishna does not exist? It exists. But we say it's false. Why we say it's false? Because it's only temporarily manifested in a certain way and it changes. Right? Just like we have this body. But for how long? What is the body made of? The Panch Mahabhut. Bhumir, Apol, Novo, Vayu, earth, water, air, fire. Huh? That's what the body is made up of. When the soul leaves, the air part goes to the air, the fire part goes to the fire, the water part goes to the water, and the body, but the elements are there, right? Because it's the energy of Krishna. So the learned transcendentalist, when he sees the different bodies, he understands that this body is the elements of Krishna. The body is existing because of the soul, and along with the soul is the Paramatma. And the Paramatma is what? What is the Paramatma? The Paramatma is an expansion of Krishna. So the devotee of Krishna, everything reminds him of Krishna. It states in Chaitanya Charitamrita, right? Whatever he sees, even if he sees a tree, when he sees that tree, he knows this tree is the elements of Krishna, the energy of Krishna, and the tree is living because the soul is there, and along with the soul is the super soul, the Paramatma, and the Paramatma is coming from Krishna. So everything reminds him of Krishna. That is the nature of the vidya, the learned person. The person afflicted by avidya, he only sees the body, right? He gets stuck in the body. You know, this is a Brahmin, and this is outcast. Yeah, maybe there's some difference in caste, but the soul is the same, right? Soul is the same. And for the devotee, he's concerned with Krishna's mission. And Krishna's mission is that everyone develop love for him. So the devotee of the Lord is concerned with giving everyone elevation. Hey, bacha log, chup chap. Elevation. Elevation. He doesn't see, the Brahmin, I can preach to the Brahmin, right? He's in the mode of goodness, very clean, tolerant, truthful. But no one is a Brahmin today. Aajkal Brahmin kaha milte hai? Right? How do you know who's Brahmin? By their guna and their karma, by their work and by their qualities. So Brahmins are in the mode of goodness, right? They have a certain food, right? The king was interested to feed the Brahmins. And he told the grocer, when the Brahmins come, you give them what they need, rice, dal. I want to feed the Brahmins. Brahmins don't eat food others cook. Brahminical culture is that you cook yourself and eat. Offer it to Shaligram and eat. Right? This idea, going hotel and here and there, eating. This is not Brahminical culture. So, after some time, the king was looking at the list of groceries. What was the purchase? And he noticed a lot of, chilies, mirchi, tikka, garam masalas. And then he chastised, he said, no, you're not giving to the Brahmins. The Brahmins don't eat this food. And the outcasts, they're outcast. Why? Because their mode of nature is like that. One time I was traveling in India and I saw these persons chasing after a pig, trying to catch the pig and kill the pig. Why? Because they want to eat. Right? But for the devotee of the Lord, they're interested to elevate everyone. They give the Brahmin the holy name, prasadam. If you can find a Brahmin today. Very hard to find a Brahmin. Only they have the Brahmin name. Sharma. Right? Sharma. Mishra, but no qualities and absolutely no karma of a Brahmin. Only name, Sharma. Trivedi, Chaturvedi. अच्छा क्या काम करते हैं ना मैं इंजीनियर हूँ चतुर्वेदी इंजीनियर क्या है नो karma और चतुर्वेदी सब क्या कहते हैं सब कुछ कहते हैं पीते हैं खाते हैं सब कुछ लेकिन चतुर्वेदी है so we don't find really Brahmins in this Kali Yuga. Very few. Very few. Actually, this International Society for Krishna Consciousness is there to try to make some Brahmins. Make some Brahmins. It's an emergency. Society is established as a body, Prabhupada said. And the head of society is the Brahmins. Right? And the Kshatriyas are the arms, and the Vaishyas are the belly. They produce the food. Right? Anad bhavati bhutani parjanyad anasambhavaha. The living body subsists on anna, grains. So the Vaishyas, they make grains. Krishi, Goraksha, Varnijam. They take care of cows, they grow grains, and extra things they can trade. But now, there's only trade. They don't do farming, they don't take care of cows, only trading. Share market, so many things. So, we don't find real Vaishyas also. Real Vaishyas only don't just trade. Kalor Vaishya Bank. What is that Vaishya Bank? Huh? So, the legs are the Shudras. All the bodies, all the parts of the body are required. If you don't have legs, the problem, right? Shudras are required, the Vaishyas are required, Kshatriyas and Brahmins. But you can say that the head is most important. Because you can lose an arm, still you live. You can lose a leg, still you live. But if you lose your head, can you live? It's over. So that's the unfortunate situation of today's society. There's no head. Head means some intelligence. What is the purpose of life? What I should do, what I shouldn't do in this life. No one knows. Big university, college education, MBA, PhD, but they don't know what to do in life. What they should do, what they should not do. So real education, vanaye, vidya vanaye, real education is to understand this thing. The Bhagavad Gita, this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. So therefore, in that way, there won't be this differentiation. People criticize the caste system. Actually, there's no caste system. There's varnas. There's occupations. They say that the caste system is bad. But it is there. Whether you want it, whether you don't want it, system is there. There's always going to be a class of men that are like teachers. Right? They teach. You went to school, right? Everybody here went to school, and you had teachers, right? So There's always going to be. And there's always going to be military men and people that run the government, okay? And there's always, hopefully there'll always be farmers to grow the food that we eat. If we don't have farmers, we'll be in a lot of trouble. And there'll always be a class that, labor. So these things are already there. But in their pure form, when their purpose is properly situated, then we can have what's called varnashram dharma. Varna, occupations purified, properly done according to the qualities and the karma and activities. Srila Prabhupada wanted us to develop varnashram dharma, but it begins by he wanted to make some people that could function as the head of society. And that is to know that everyone is equal on the spiritual platform. Whether it's man, woman, different countries, human beings, animals, trees, plants, all on the spiritual platform. And that's what this verse is saying. A person who sees like this is a Krishna conscious person. So are there any questions? Yes, Mike.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji, for the very nice class. My question is, as you explained that this person who is in knowledge, he sees everybody with equal vision. But in my case, as and when I go practicing Krishna consciousness, when will that day come, when I will be able to see everybody equally? I mean, on this platform, which this verse is talking about, because still I judge people, I see them externally, and okay, this is a good person, this is not a good person. Like that, I keep on judging and making conclusions on that.
Well, I think the important thing that helps us to see people equally is to, first of all, understand Krishna is the father of everyone. Regardless of the differences between you and your brother. You have a brother? Sister? Yeah. Between you and your sister, still, she's your sister. Why? Because you have a common father. Maybe some dispute is there, right? But still, in the end, you're the family members, isn't it? In the same way, when we see that we all have a common father, Aham bija pida pita, Krishna says, I am the seed-giving father. Then, in spite of the differences that we will obviously see, we can't negate the differences are there. But at the same time, we're all part and parcel of Krishna. So as we develop our knowledge of Krishna, as we develop our relationship with Krishna, similarly we'll develop our relationship in a commonality with each and every living entity. When the saintly person walks along the street and he sees the dog, right? He's seen that this is a part and parcel of Krishna. There's a soul there. When he sees a tiger, he doesn't embrace the tiger because he knows the nature of each and every, but he sees it as part and parcel of Krishna, the soul that gives that body life. So, in answer to the question, we need sufficient knowledge. We need sufficient practical application of that knowledge. So you can ask, well, how do I practically apply this knowledge? And that's why Srila Prabhupada put so much emphasis on distributing Srila Prabhupada's books, on distributing books. Because when you try to distribute a book, you see everyone equally, right? You see everyone as a soul. Because unless you have that feeling that there's a soul, and that I should try to help this soul by giving them giving them a Bhagavad Gita or giving them another book, right? As soon as you have that consciousness, the souls reciprocate. The Paramatma from within enlightens them. Take a book. Right? If we don't have that and we only see the differences in the bodies and making distinction, oh, this one will take, but that one won't take, and then the Lord reciprocates in that way. The yogis meditate for thousands of years to try to be able to realize the Paramatma. But a devotee can easily realize the Paramatma simply by engaging in Sankirtan. Because unless you have that connection with Paramatma, that this person is your part, your parcel, for you, I want to try to help them get your knowledge. You understand? So by that, easily a devotee becomes in contact with Paramatma. Knowledge, practical application of that knowledge, and gradually, and also having some compassion for people. Because people are really suffering in this world. There's so much difficulties they're facing. But they're meant to chant, they're meant to dance, they're meant to take prasadam, right? And be blissful. But they can't. Unless they have one peg, they can't dance. But devotees, naturally they dance, they chant, they're blissful. And then that bliss we can share with others, and by realizing that we're all in a common family with Krishna as the Supreme Father. Is that okay?
Yes, Prabhuji, just extension to this. Like sometimes we may have to make differences. I mean, when it comes to a community, if somebody is a threat to community, then we have to separate those people surely. I mean, if somebody is a threat to the community, then we may have to distinguish there. We may have to put some differences. Okay, these people are trying to harm devotees or things like that. So there, we may have to make some differences. Though we have this knowledge of soul and everybody is equal. But when it comes to, safeguarding the community of devotees, then we'll have to make differences. So how to see that, Prabhu, in that case?
Well, just because you became a devotee or you're trying to become a devotee doesn't mean that you surrender your intelligence. Yes, you have to use your intelligence. If there's, Lord Chaitanya was traveling in South India, some villages were very receptive. Everyone chanted, But in some villages, they didn't chant. So what did Lord Chaitanya do? He went to another village, right? So if you find people that are inimical unfavorable, not really what you would call receptive, you move on. You go to somebody else. That's us. But we don't hate them, we wish them well. One of the things that is important to do when you're distributing Srila Prabhupada's book, the person may take or may not take, but you always leave them with a good impression. Always try to leave them with a good impression. Vaisheshika Prabhu tells a story. He gave some people a book. One couple gave a book. And he said, here's a, book we want to show her. They said, no, we're Christians. Really heavy. We're Christians. They said, oh, really? That's wonderful. We're not interested. Okay, fine. But I really appreciate the fact that you stopped today. And excuse me if I wasted any of your time, but I was so happy to meet you. And he took the book back. And they left. After about 10, 15 minutes, they came back and they said, the thing is, we felt bad and we want to give a donation. And he said, but we don't want the book. We don't want the book. And he said, the fact that you want to give a donation establishes a relationship. And I accept that relationship. But a relationship is two ways. So I'm ready to accept your donation and establish this relationship. But you please help make the relationship grow by taking this book. And then they said, okay, we'll take the book. So always leave, that's the learned person. He sees everyone and he can keep in the transcendental platform. Even though others are on the bodily concept. I'm a Christian. Or I'm a Muslim. Or I'm this, I'm that. I'm Hindu. Actually, you're spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna. This body is going to change. In your last life, you say, I'm a Christian. In your last life, you could have been a Hindu. You could have been anything, right? But that's not who we really are. And someone who's on a transcendental platform, they help people just by their association understand that and realize that and experience it. Any other questions? Can you pass the microphone to Hanuman Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, we want to know that how you first meeting with Srila Prabhupada.
How what?
How you made first time Srila Prabhupada.
How I first time met Srila Prabhupada? Well, I met Srila Prabhupada for the first time in Sridhar Mayapur, 1974, in the Gaur Purnima festival. So when I got to Mayapur, I was a new devotee. I had only been a devotee 6 months. So I wanted to meet Srila Prabhupada. So I asked, where is Srila Prabhupada? And somebody said, he's in that room. So then I thought, okay, I'll go meet him. And I went to that room, and there was a screen door, jali, and inside I could see Prabhupada was there, some devotees. And I went to offer my obeisances, and then I was going to go inside. But just then 2 brahmacharis came out. I said, hey, he's trying to go in Prabhupada's room. Grab him. So then I thought, oh, you can't just go in Prabhupada's room. Anyway, the next day, myself and some other devotees who had come from the same temple as I, we were cleaning the floor outside Prabhupada's room. In Prabhupada's room, there was no attached bathroom. You had to come out and go to in that Lotus building in Mayapur. So Prabhupada came out of his room in his gamsha. He was going to the bathroom. And he saw us on our hands and knees cleaning the floor. And he became very happy. With a big smile, he said, Hare Krishna. So that was the first time I met Srila Prabhupada. And I realized that, it's not so much that we should try to see the spiritual master, but if we do some seva for his pleasure, then he will automatically see you. And you'll feel his presence. Hare Krishna. 8:30. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavat Gita ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi.